Hello children, welcome back to the channel. Today we are covering the third subunit, the Age of Revolution, from the chapter The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. This period witnessed several revolts and uprisings across Europe. It was a time when liberal nationalist ideas inspired the middle class, workers, students and even farmers to challenge monarchy and demand constitutional rule. Let's see the turning point in European history. What was the situation after 1815? What is the meaning of after 1815? Did you remember that Treaty of Vienna was signed, right? So after that, what was happened? What was their motto? They want to undo the changes that was done by the Napoleon, right? So after Napoleon defeat in 1815, the Congress of Vienna restored monarchies in Europe. But nationalist and liberal ideas such as liberty, equality and fraternity were still alive. Between 1830 and 1848, these ideas led to several revolutions in Europe. These revolutions were mainly led by liberals, nationalists, the educated middle class and workers. The revolution took place in France in July 1830. Did you remember that in the conservatism, they have restored the Bourbon family, right? The Bourbon kings was restored, but that was gone away here. In 1830, the French people rebelled against King Charles X, who tried to restore absolute monarchy. He was overthrown and replaced by Louis Philippe, who was expected to rule as a constitutional monarch. Do you know the meaning for the constitutional monarch? We have seen in the French Revolution. Are you remembering that? So constitutional monarch is nothing but king will be there. At the same time, the people has all rights to say their opinion. Okay, we have seen. The same thing here also. Louis Philippe was appointed by the people. They are expecting him to rule in the form of constitutional monarch. Okay, this event is called the July Revolution. It inspired uprising in other parts of Europe. In the same year, Belgium also rose in revolt against the Dutch monarchy. With the support of the July Revolution, Belgium became independent from the United Kingdom of Netherlands. In the conservatism, Belgium was given to Netherlands. Did you remember that? From that it was separated. The next thing, that is nothing but the Greek War of Independence. One of the most important national struggles happened in Greece. Greece was under Ottoman control since the 15th century. In 1821, the Greeks started a nationalist movement. This war attracted support from other Europeans, including poets like Lord Byron. The people of Greece who were living out of the country also have supported for that. One more thing, that the poet I said na, Byron. So he organized a fund and he went with the war. But unfortunately, he died there because of fever in the year of 1824. At last, finally, Greece gained independence in the year 1832. And the Treaty of Constantinople recognized Greece as an independent nation. This is one of the important landmark. Treaty of Constantinople when it was signed. Okay. The subunit under this, the romantic imagination and national feeling. This is one of the important 3 mark or 5 mark you can expect it. Okay, so under this concept, during this period, poet, artists and writers play an important role in spreading nationalism. This movement is known as Romanticism. They have spreaded the nationalism by using the songs, dance, folk dance. So through this, they have delivered the concept of nationalism to the people. Okay, romantic artists believed in emotion, intuition and folk tradition. They revived folk songs, local languages and traditional dances to create the national identity. Through the dances and music, it is easy to deliver the concept of nationalism to the illiterate people. Illiterate people don't know to read and write, na? So these folk songs, folk dances helped them to analyze or understand the concept of nationalism. For example, here in Poland, the composer Karol Karpinski used music to inspire resistance and national pride. Even once Poland was occupied by Russia, Russia forced Poland people to use Russian language as their common language. But this was not liked by the people of the Poland. Even the clergy means you know, right? Priest. In the priest, the clergy members in the church gatherings and in the religious instruction, they have started to use only the Polish language because that is their own language. So for this, the Russian government arrested these bishops or priests as they have used the Poland language, nothing but Polish. Okay, for that they gave the punishment to send these bishops or priests to jail in Siberia. So here what I am coming to say is that the Poland people have used the language as a tool for their own freedom or against Russian dominance. Let's understand what life was like for ordinary people in the 1830s and 1840s. Economic crisis in Europe. The 1830 and 1840 were years of economic hardship. Population was increasing rapidly, but job opportunities were limited. In many regions, especially rural areas, unemployment was high and food prices rose sharply. The poor harvest of 1845 led to widespread hunger and famine in many parts of Europe. Let's look at one example, the weavers of Silesia in Prussia. These weavers were struggling under the putting out system, where merchants gave the raw materials to work on but paid them very low wages. In 1845, they staged a violent revolt. They marched to the houses of their employers and demanded for their wages. Demanded fair wages, but they were met with harsh military suppression. In this event, 11 weavers were shot. This shows the class struggles that existed beneath nationalist revolution. In 1848, food shortages and unemployment led to uprising in cities across Europe. In Paris, workers and students took to the streets and forced Louis Philippe to flee. Flee means escaped. He escaped. A republic was proclaimed and universal male suffrage was introduced. In February 1848, another revolution broke out in France. The middle class and workers united to demand right to vote. This is under the topic of the revolution of the liberals. The middle class and workers united to demand right to vote, better working condition, democratic government. Louis Philippe was overthrown and a republic was established. Universal male suffrage was introduced, meaning all adult men could vote. Inspired by France, the liberal middle class in Germany, Italy, Poland and Austria also revolted in 1848. These revolutions were non-violent political movements led by lawyers, teachers and professionals. Their demands were nation state, constitutional freedom, constitutional government, freedom of the press, civil liberties, unification of fragmented states. What is the meaning of unification of fragmented states? In your next subunit, we will see about the unification of Germany. Germany parties with the other country. That is nothing but they want to join their own parts to their own country. In this, the Frankfurt Parliament, which was a famous liberal dream, that we see what was happened. In Germany, elected representatives from different states assembled at Frankfurt in May 1848. This assembly, called the Frankfurt Parliament, aimed to draft a constitution for united Germany. Germany joined together. For that, they have drafted a constitution. They offered the crown to the King of Prussia. Who was that time King of Prussia? To the Friedrich Wilhelm IV. Prussia is nothing but Germany. But that king refused it as it came from the people, not other monarchs. As a result, Frankfurt Parliament failed and the liberal dream of unifying Germany collapsed. At the end of this Frankfurt Parliament, what was happened is that the military was called by the king inside the parliament. They made the people, that assembly members, nearly 831. Assembly members were there. So here those 831 elected representatives were forcefully moved out of the parliament by the king. In that, how was the participation of the women? Women, how they have contributed for this? Women actively participated in the 1848 revolution. They organized political meeting, formed associations, and demanded equal political rights. They even took part in the Frankfurt Parliament as observers. However, they were denied voting rights and their demands were ignored. But this laid the foundation for the women's movement in Europe. Though the revolution of 1848 failed to create lasting constitutional government, some significant outcomes did happen, especially in the Austrian Empire. Under pressure from the revolutionaries, the Habsburg monarch was forced to grant certain rights. Most importantly, serfdom and bonded labor were abolished both in the Habsburg dominions and in Hungary. This was a major social and economic reform, especially for the farmer people. But remember, these reforms came out of fear of revolt, and the monarchy soon regained control. Soon the Age of Revolution. So the Age of Revolution from 1830 to 1848 was a time of intense political awakening in Europe. Though most of the revolution failed, they played a vital role in planting the seeds for national unification and democracy in Europe. These movements influenced the unification of Germany and Italy, which we will study in the next subunits. If this video is helpful for you, please like it and subscribe my channel. Thank you.